Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to Footy JUDGEMO. People have not been streaming for 2 days, had some issues, but now we're back, and we're back, of course, with the brilliant Mina to talk about all about, of course, Jadon Sancho at Chelsea, why it is gonna work, why people think it's gonna work. Raheem Sterling, is he really underrated? Is he the savior for Arsenal? And the latest quotes, of course, which Kobie Mainoo should not be starting every game for Manchester United. And of course, we'll talk about Erik ten Hag. You know the drill, of course. But if you're here now, hit that like button. If you're watching this in the replay, like the video, because we're here with Mina. Hopefully, this will be a regular show with myself and her. We'll talk about all the teams, not only Manchester United. Her channel, of course, is Mina Football in the description. It's going to be pinned, of course, in the description. So you go and subscribe, support her, talking brilliant football, mostly Manchester United. We're going to try to make her make other videos about other teams, of course. But big up, Mina. Big up that you're here. Hopefully, everything is well. I think your camera, is it for me or your
I don't know. Is my camera looking a bit blurry?
Yeah,
I might have to leave the stream and come back, because I looked
is it only me or is it every
I think it's everyone, because it's on my screen as well. It's looking a bit a bit weird.
It's a bit strange.
It's a bit
hopefully
strange.
it's internet. It's not internet, huh?
It looks like it's my internet. Yeah, it looks like it's my internet.
Now listen, it's people, hit that like button first. It's very unusual. Your camera is normally on the top notch.
Yeah. Let me leave the stream and rejoin. Give me a second.
Leave the stream and come back. But big up everybody that is, guys, in the chat, everyone, let me know where are you tuning in from. And if you're watching this in the replay, in the comments, please let me know where are you tuning in from. It's not my usual setup for the next 2 days, but we'll go back to the normal setup, of course, in 2 days. So hit that like button, people. Listen, I want to know where you guys are tuning in from. Like the video and let me know where are you tuning in from people in the chat, of course, everyone, and let me know your opinions. We're going to discuss everything. It's an international break. You know, I know it's boring, but help me tuning in from Jamaica, of course, from Jamaica, Ibadan, of course, Lagos, Nigeria.
All right, let me.
Now the camera's good.
Is it better, guys? In the chat, let me know.
It's fantastic. Husam is from Moldova. Wallahi, you lie. Allah, I hasbaka. From York. Scotland. Fear Allah, ya akhi, she's telling you. UK, Netherlands. Mohammed Shammam in Masr from Egypt, of course. Toronto, London, Netherlands, Maryland, Cape Town, of course. Thank you so much for people. Just a new welcome aboard, my friend. Barbadian from Barbados, living in London and Spain. You're living the dream, my friend. Cornwall, of course. Don Husam is in Liverpool. He lies. He lies. Mahmoud al-Shamma, habibi. I'm sorry, Mahmoud al-Shamma. Brisbane, Australia, of course. Big up people, of course. Abu Salam, everybody. But listen, let's get into it. Where should we start? I actually want.
Let's start with Kobie Mainoo because I don't like what you put in the title. I don't like it. Let's start with that. Why do you think Mainoo shouldn't start?
I actually said on the football terrace with Terry that Kobie Mainoo should run for his life from Manchester United.
From Manchester United or from Erik ten Hag?
It doesn't matter. It's both the same now, isn't it?
No,
it's the same.
Makes a big difference. Like, it makes a big difference.
It's not a big difference. No, it is not. How is it a big difference? The guy that runs the ship now, the guy that steers the ship, the guy that delivers the lectures before the game, the guy that puts the tactics, of course, right? The guy that does everything, the guy that does the press conferences, the face of Manchester United today is Erik ten Hag. With all due respect to all the Man United fans, this is the reality. I know that you're gonna say, "Oh, but we have done Ashworth, we have Omar Barada." They put their trust
because that's when we talk from coaching and we talk about the delivering on the pitch. You're right. Ten Hag is the face of it because he's the manager.
And the guy, do you think how many times do you think Kobie Mainoo meets like with Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada? Once every season?
Well, that's the thing. That's not their job, right? To meet with the players. That wouldn't be their job.
So unless we want them. So who's developing Kobie Mainoo today?
I think the technical director has involvement. I think the coaching staff has involvement, and the manager. That's it.
Exactly.
It's not so. But even if you, I don't know if you read the Athletic piece about preseason in the US tour, and they were talking about the coaching methods, and they were saying that a lot of the coaching drills were not run by Erik ten Hag. A lot of it was run by Ruud van Nistelrooy and René Hack, and Erik ten Hag would just analyze and sit back and watch people that are doing well and people that are not doing well. I'm not gonna lie, this witch hunt against Kobie Mainoo all of a sudden because of the error, especially I think it's come after the error that he made against Liverpool. And one thing I will say is that people make mistakes, right? Footballers will always make mistakes, but it's about the system that you're playing in. Sometimes the system that you're playing in will cover up your mistakes because there's enough people around you to kind of, if you make a wrong back pass, etc., there'll be people around you. Whereas I promise you, bro, you put any midfielder in that midfield right now with Ten Hag, the 3-1-6 in build-up, tell me one midfielder that would not have suffered from Liverpool's press, because a lot of people were saying Manchester United gifted them the goals, right? But I don't think that's solely true. I actually think the fact that Liverpool set up in a certain way because they knew what Man United were going to do, that in itself is a tactic. Casemiro played in that position. He drowned. They switched it over to Kobie Mainoo. He drowned. Inevitable. It's going to happen. So you could put anyone there. I actually think like the only person that probably Sergio Busquets at his peak would probably be able to get away because he's got eyes at the back of his head. Yeah? That guy, he's probably...
There are a lot, but I think the Pirlos, like all these guys that used to be like, okay, they have different brain. You know what I mean? But I think you're misunderstanding my point. It's not because of Kobie Mainoo. I actually said last summer that Kobie Mainoo should not sign a contract with Manchester United. Should actually leave Manchester United for his development. I like Kobie Mainoo. I actually said something in the summer. I said if Kobie Mainoo played for Spain, if Kobie Mainoo played for Barcelona, we would have been talking about him like a Pedri or a Gavi.
But we're not doing that. We're not doing that because he plays for United. But we're not doing that because he plays for United. Because United is a witch hunt against United.
Rightfully so. You don't think so, right? No. I think you are taking it from the point of we're doing it because we hate Manchester United. I'm doing it from another point. I think you are in a banter era at the current moment, and I want to see the good players leave. I want to see the good players develop. I want to see someone because I believe if Kobie Mainoo goes to Real Madrid, if Kobie Mainoo goes to Pep Guardiola, let me just give you an example. Imagine if Kobie Mainoo is coached under Pep Guardiola tomorrow, Hansi Flick. How do you think he will look on the pitch? I promise you, we will be talking about a generational talent at the current moment.
He's a generational talent regardless.
Yeah, but the problem is it's not showing.
I don't care if Hansi Flick. I don't care if Tuchel. I don't care who's coaching him. Regardless of that, he's a generational talent.
Yeah, but he's gonna regress.
I'll be very honest with you. My opinion is I don't think Ten Hag is going to last in his 2-year contract. He's got a 2-year deal.
You said that in the summer.
Huh?
I did a show with you. You said that in the summer.
Yeah, I said it in the summer. I don't think he's gonna last 2 years. I don't think he's gonna.
No. You said in the summer he would leave and they will get a new.
No. I wanted. Yeah, but what happened? What ended up happening? They kept him.
He stayed.
Why? He stayed, or did they keep him? You know, I say this all the time. Let's take it back. Do you remember when we did the stream? Remember when we did the stream in the summer, right? And I said to you, if they are actively looking for other managers and he still chose to stay, that's like someone telling you that they're going to go and date other people, but at the end of the day, they're going to come back to you. You just leave, right? I would have liked it if Ten Hag just said, you know what? You guys are wasting my time. I'm just going to leave, because I don't know if you lot saw the report recently that came out about Thomas Tuchel, and apparently it was very advanced between Thomas Tuchel and Manchester United. It was just the final hurdle of the transfers, etc., that they didn't really agree on, and the transfer strategy. Kobie Mainoo suddenly becoming this targeted player because of his errors or how he's playing in this system. I'm going to be so real. Put anyone in the midfield, bro. They're not going to survive. They are not going to survive.
I don't understand. Hold on.
Position.
Can you? What do you mean targeted? He's not targeted. People like Kobie Mainoo.
No. The criticism I've seen for Kobie Mainoo over the last week has been a criticism that I have not seen on his level.
You know where I got that quote from, that he shouldn't start for Man United? You know, it's Graham Souness.
But why are we listening to Graham Souness? Why are we giving him airtime?
Because he presented a very good argument.
Come on.
I think he's
right. I don't give Graham.
Let me explain. I think he's presenting a fair argument. Kobie Mainoo is a 19 years old, very talented footballer. We can see the talent. But me and you, we understand that at 19 years old, you haven't had your full peak yet. You might need game time, 20, 25 games. But I think what Manchester United are putting now, I think even with the Ugarte, they are putting a lot of pressure on the kid's shoulder. And that's not right. That's not right.
Do you think he's being played out of position? Because first, there's two things that I have worries about Kobie. There's two things that I have a worry about. Number one is the number of minutes he's playing. Ugarte, right, Eric Ten Hag, I don't know if you lot saw, get this guy out of here. HUSAM. I'm not going to say anything haram. HUSAM's a good guy, so I'm just going to keep quiet. But listen, Kobie Mainoo, look at Ugarte, right? Eric Ten Hag said in the press conference after Liverpool game, Ugarte hasn't had a pre-season. He's not match fit. We might not see him for a month. Yesterday, he's in the starting 11 for Uruguay. Yeah?
Yep.
On the flip side, Kobie Mainoo had no pre-season, came back from the Euros. What happened? Got thrown straight into Community Shield. Got thrown straight into the first game of the season, the second game of the season, the third game of the season. It's double standards, I think, and this is my criticism on the manager is 1 minute a player is not match fit because they haven't had pre-season. But in that same sentence, a player has had match fitness. A player that hasn't had pre-season is not match fit and cannot come into your system. Kobie Mainoo is playing way too many games at his level for his age.
So you argue with me, but then you agree with me.
No, I don't agree with you that he should. You're saying that he should leave. You're saying literally said
that's my opinion. Can you be objective?
I don't agree with that.
Hold on. Can you be objective and remove your Man United hat?
No,
please.
No, I'm not being objective. I'm being biased.
No,
you can be biased. Why can't I be biased? Why can't I? You can be biased.
I am not. Alhamdulillah, I'm not biased. I am not biased. What do you mean? I'm not biased. How am I biased?
I'm joking.
I'm joking. Seriously, Mina, remove your hat. If you would advise any player now, would you advise anyone to stay at Man United? Be honest.
Yes, because I don't think Man United is as much of a sinking ship as maybe rivals think. Maybe
you don't think Man United are a sinking ship?
No, I don't. I think we were a sinking ship, but now I think now we've got our head above the water, and now it's about coming up. The biggest question for me is about Eric Ten Hag. That is where my question mark is not on the players. My question mark is on Eric Ten Hag. And do you know why I say it's on the manager? My question is on the manager is because we've lost half of the players that he started his first season with, right? Half of them are gone. Against Liverpool, every player in the starting 11 was a player that he brought, a player that he promoted to the academy, or a player that he gave a new long-term contract to. So essentially, that's his team, and yet he still can't get a tune out of them. Why am I gonna then turn around? For the last 10 years, we've been saying, "Oh, it's the player. Oh, it's the manager. Oh, it's the player. Oh, it's the manager." We've literally brought in a whole new team, practically. I know people are gonna say Marcus Rashford. People are gonna bring up Bruno Fernandes. Even people are gonna bring up Harry Maguire, even though that he's barely playing. But really and truly, that starting 11, for example, against that Liverpool team, was fully Eric Ten Hag's starting 11. There was no one there that he solely inherited that he didn't give an extra opportunity, i.e. a new contract or a promotion from the academy. That's his starting 11. If he can't get a tune out of them in terms of his playing style, implementing the way that he wants to play, then my questions are going to be on the manager more so than the players. That's just my opinion anyways.
Hold on. You literally kept saying it's all his players. These are all his players. Do you rate the guy or you don't rate the guy?
I don't rate him because I don't think he can get a tune out of his players. That's literally what I'm
saying.
saying.
But all the players at Man United now are his players. So how do you rate players that he brought?
Because are you not listening to me? He cannot get something out of them.
I'm not listening. There's no one here. There's no one here.
Listen. Let me break it down. Let me break it down. Let me break it down for you. Yeah. He's trying to get a tune out of these players. He's trying to get a reaction out of them. He's trying to implement a style. Clearly, that is not working. I promise you, bro. You could take Man City today. Yeah, this Man City starting 11, you can take them and put them into Ten Hag's system. I don't think he would get a result out of them either. Because for me, it's not a realistic system for the Premier League. Tell me one team that has played one player in midfield and have played 6 players in the opponent's third and 3 players in their own defensive third. Tell me one team that has done that.
We agree. He's so. I actually think Ten Hag, and I told you this before, and you didn't agree with me. I think Ten Hag is just an awkward person, and it's not a language barrier.
No, but I don't want to. I think that's like when you start talking about their characteristics.
You're talking about personality. No,
I think that's a bit personal.
But I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why I think the problem here lies. And people think I'm attacking the person as personality. No, right? It's not that. You deliver a lecture every day and every day twice. Sometimes you lead a team, including the players, the staff, your medical team, and everyone around you. The way you talk to the press is an indication of how you deliver a message. You get my point? Like if you're for example, I'm going to give you an example. If you're someone who cannot speak about in front of a big crowd, you shouldn't be a teacher. You shouldn't be a university teacher. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be a university professor. Do you know my point?
Yeah.
So I think Eric Ten Hag doesn't know how to deliver a message. That is from his. That's apart from his tactical. He's not a tactical person. I don't think he says tactics. I don't think he knows what he's talking about. I don't think he knows what he's doing. The way he set up the team, I don't see a lot of he did it for some games in the first season, and then he abandoned this completely. And that it goes back to the point. I think like Manchester United at the current moment, because the board kept this guy, I shouldn't trust this board. And don't tell me there was no better manager around. I promise you, if you got anybody, it would have been better than Ten Hag. It would have been better than Ten Hag and better for the development. Because at the current moment, I'm looking at this. I promise you, if Ten Hag stays the whole season, Kobie Mainoo is going to regress. Bruno Fernandes, by the way, year after year after year, Bruno Fernandes is regressing. That's the reality. Bruno Fernandes is regressing as a football player, right? Marcus Rashford have regressed. Amad Diallo, you guys rate Amad Diallo. I think Amad Diallo is just a talent, but he's not that amazing, right? He's gonna regress. Everyone is gonna regress because when you constantly kept told the wrong information and the wrong tactics, you will regress because your awareness is gonna get worse. Your tactical awareness is gonna get worse. Like your decision making is gonna get worse because you keep making mistakes. I think it's just common sense. And because the board kept Ten Hag, I think they made a horrific decision that set you back 2 years.
I don't want
Years.
to let me be devil's advocate, right? I don't know if you saw the
Yes.
interview with Dan Ashworth and Umar Barada with the Athletic after it came out after the Liverpool game, but they did it
I
before
said
the Liverpool
some.
game.
I saw some.
There was one thing that stuck out to me because they spoke about like the transfer strategy. They spoke about all of that, like getting rid of Sancho, why they got rid of him, McTominay, etc. But there was one thing that they were asked about Eric Ten Hag if it was their decision to keep Ten Hag. And Dan Ashworth blatantly said, and Umar Barada said, we did not start our roles until after the decision was made. So take from that what you wish. The decision, that's why I can't put the blame on people like Barada, Ashworth, etc. Now, I'm not saying that they did not have any say, but I'm going off of what the information that we're being fed, right? I'm not gonna lie. I said this when Ruud van Nistelrooy came in. I said that is their plan B.
Can
It's
I interject here?
No. Let me quickly say something because
I
you
need to
said
go back. Can you remind me about the point going back with their starting role? I'm gonna tell you why. I just need to interject here.
go on.
Because the media briefing, and I'm quoting here. That's not my opinion. I'm quoting here what was said to the media before the decision was made. Before the decision was made, that the transfer market is ours, Dan Ashford, the transfer market, we're gonna make decisions in the transfer market and all the stuff. And we're interviewing managers. So how come they were looking and interviewing managers, but the decision was made after they arrived? That doesn't make any sense. The timeline doesn't add up.
I'm just going off of what was said in the article. I wasn't there. I wasn't a fly on the wall. I wasn't part of the interview process. I'm just going off of what that we've been told. And the only thing I can do is form an opinion on that, right? Okay. We can either run with a hysterical opinion or a reasonable one. I understand. I've seen so many people, by the way, that said that they were Ineos out after Ten Hag got his new deal. And I think it says a lot that it wasn't even a new deal. They've framed it. I remember that day we were sitting here on your stream, the day that the news broke. We're sitting here and I said that if they don't give him a long-term contract, then I'm not buying that they're backing him, because they're not. And that's exactly what they did. He had 1 year left on his contract with an option to extend, and that's what they triggered. On top of that, Eric Ten Hag sat in a press conference complaining about the fact that Scott McTominay had been sold. He complained about Scott McTominay being sold, saying that he didn't want Scott McTominay to be sold. He's a very important player to him. I don't know what he's on. But then that also shows to me that the decisions in the transfer window doesn't lie with Ten Hag. And that's why I still say that I don't think this is his project. This transfer window, in my opinion, confirmed to me that it's not really his project, and it's more so a sporting project that he's just the face of. Now, I'm not going to lie. A lot of people are under this impression that Ruud van Nistelrooy should be a replacement for him, and that he's kind of like the lifeline that's in place already. Because, you know, if you get rid of a manager mid-season, it's easier for you to just appoint the assistant manager as a caretaker or interim or whatever. But how can we go from, no disrespect, from Ten Hag to Ruud when Ruud van Nistelrooy's only major coaching job was PSV? Now, I'm not saying he needs to have accolades. He has to coach at Bayern, he has to coach at Barcelona, etc. But fans will lose their patience for him. Maybe not as quick as Ten Hag, because he's a club legend. You know, like Oli, when Oli was the manager, I feel like a lot of people backed him more because he was a club legend. And I think that would be the same with Ruud.
Do you remember what's his name? Do you remember Rio? He ran the biggest PR for Oli in the first year.
Yeah.
Ferdinand ran the biggest PR, and I think he was getting paid. I genuinely think he was getting paid by the club to run this PR. Because how if you one manager after 1 year at Manchester United, you're running all this PR, Oli at the wheel, give him a 10-year contract. They're gonna do the same. By the way, they're gonna do the same with Van Nistelrooy, and it's scary. It is scary because it can be another Lampard, it can be another Gerrard, it can be like, I don't think he has this Manchester United team. I think he needs special attention from someone is bigger than Ruud van Nistelrooy, has more experience.
Do you think it needs like a big manager? Do you think it needs like a big name manager?
Yes, I'm gonna tell you. And also, do you know one of the things that I keep saying? It needs a manager that will be able to put his hands down and tell these players, "You don't know, I know more than you."
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you examples. Hansi Flick and Antonio. I'm not saying you get Antonio Conte from that stature. You know what I mean? Someone who won't take shit from anyone on the pitch. Someone who won't listen. The media will not tell the guy anything. Someone who has a lot of respect and experience that they won't take any from the play, no player can come out and say something about how they played bad, the plan, whatever. Like that needs that. Ruud van Nistelrooy, number one, I don't watch a lot of Eredivisie. I don't know how they play, but I think you don't have the experience. You don't have the experience, and I think it's strange a little bit to actually give it to Ruud, and I don't think they will. I don't think they will give it to Ruud.
You know what's strange to me? Do you know what's strange to me is 3 years. This is year 3 of Erik ten Hag's project, right? And Erik ten Hag has openly said that United are still a couple of years away from competing. Bruno Fernandes has also said the same, right? And Ineos have come in and said, you know what, it's going to take us a bit of time to kind of get to where we want to be. But in that same kind of breath, allowing, for me, like, what do you think is acceptable for United this season? What's realistic for them? Because in my opinion,
there is difference between
acceptable and realistic.
Very different.
There's a big difference. But for me, I said that if United finish outside of the top 4, Ten Hag has to go. He has to go. If United finish outside of top 4.
But okay. So hear me out here. I actually don't think with Ten Hag you'll get top 4. So it's very hard for me to sit here and tell you if he doesn't get top 4.
Because you don't think he's getting it. Regardless.
Exactly. Like it is very hard for me. Like, let me give you an example. If I see you as the 6th fastest guy and I say if you don't get top 3, you'll get sacked. I'm like, but I am not the 6th. I'm not the 3rd fastest guy here. And that is my take on Ten Hag. Like, and I think here is the thing about it. For Jim Ratcliffe to come publicly, and I debated this with Terry the other day, like just a couple of months ago, to say Erik ten Hag should not be worried about challenging for the league. And I'm like, what? Challenging for the league? And if you look at this statement in isolation, it's correct. You shouldn't be worried about challenging for the league now. But now you are putting the expectations that we think Erik ten Hag can get top 4. I don't think so.
I don't agree with that though. But him saying that Ten Hag shouldn't be worried about challenging for the league, in the 3rd year of your project, I think you should be closer to challenging for the league. You shouldn't be challenging, but you should be closer.
And now we're coming to expectations, not reality. And I said that before. I said any Man United. I said this, by the way. I didn't say this only about Manchester United. I said about Inter, Juventus, Milan, like if you talk Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, if you talk any of the big clubs in England, no matter what the circumstances are, in your 3rd year, if you aren't up there, close to the top 3 or top 2, you failed. You just failed. Anyone, by the way. It doesn't matter if it's Arteta, Pep, it doesn't matter who it is. Manchester United spend a lot of money. Big heritage, massive fan base, massive stadium. And if you hire a manager and it's in his 3rd year, you're sitting here and you're telling him that he shouldn't be challenging for the league. I know you're being realistic, but also that means the development is wrong. You should have sacked the guy and start over. Do you get my point?
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually agree with you.
If you have a manager that is in 3rd year, you are telling him publicly you shouldn't be worried about challenging for the league. You should have sacked him in the summer and get anyone. And I don't care who. And don't tell me Man United don't have the money. When you spend that much money in the window, logically speaking, you have the money to pay the guy his £8 million a year and hire somebody else.
Do you think, though, they prioritize a clear out before the dugout?
Mina, it's £8 million. That is peanuts for Manchester United.
Bro, but they were holding out to pay what? They ended up paying like 4 million for Dan Ashworth when they could have just paid 10 to get him earlier.
That is negotiation. That is different.
They're penny pinching, but Ineos have been penny pinching, bro. They're scrapping jobs left, right, center. You know, stewards at Old Trafford, security at Old Trafford, they don't get lunch anymore. They don't get lunch.
What is the most important job at Manchester United Football Club? What is the number one priority for any football?
Yeah, it's the coach. It's the person sitting in the dugout.
Coach. Bro, I'm telling you, in any big club around in the world, you can have, and by the way, this notion that the structure is more important, I get it, it is important. But I have seen clubs with the structure all over the place, changing presidents, but if the coach is competent at least he can steer the ship in the right direction. You get my point? If you have the best structure in the world and your coach is bad, you won't get anywhere. You might regress because at the end, the football, at the end, all of this is for 90 minutes to be played on the pitch. And the one that put the lineup, and the one that put the tactics, and the one that watched videotapes about the opposition and make counter tactics and all the stuff is one guy. With his staff, of course, is the coach. And that is my problem with Ineos. How do you didn't think about this when you gave the guy the backing? And I'm just going to do the backing. You know what I mean? It's not like real backing. You literally just triggered 1 year extension for the guy. But I'm looking at this team. You signed Ugarte, Dilek, Mazraoui, Xerxes, but then the one on the bench is freaking Erik ten Hag, which is, okay, I'm not scared of Man United. Do you think anyone is scared of Man United?
You know what I think?
Any club?
I think Ten Hag's stubbornness will get him sacked. That's what's going to get him sacked. It will be the stubbornness that leads to the results. Because you spoke about, for example, you know, him in press conferences. He's gotten progressively worse over his time at Man United. First, he came at United, he was a good speaker. People could buy into what he was selling. And then I think it's because he came out, and I don't know if you remember, this is probably like about 18 or so months ago, when he said, I can't play Ajax football here.
Yeah. I remember.
And everyone said, well, that's what you came to do. He said, I want to make Man United the best counter-attacking team or transitional team. And people were like, but that's not what you came to do. We were sold a possession style structure. And now you're saying you can't do that. Of course, it's Ajax football. You can't play Ajax football at Man United, but you can remix it and make it into like your own. And I feel like in press conferences, he's gotten progressively worse, bro. And that part you're talking about, his character, and just think, I think there's a like a language barrier between maybe what he wants to say in Dutch and then when he says it in English. And if you're bilingual, if you speak multiple languages, you know of that. Because Mo, you speak Arabic, right? If you say, think of something in your brain in Arabic, if you try to translate it literally into English, it might not make sense. You have to translate it to make it make sense in English. And I feel like sometimes Ten Hag has that issue. Now, when you come to the part of him saying, I'm not Harry Potter, or, you know, them asking him about style of football, etc., and he's going on a rant about trophies, that's to me someone that is fighting to prove something.
No, I think that's an idiotic take.
No, because let's take it back to the FA Cup, right? Remember after the FA Cup final, he sat in front of everybody and said, if they want to get rid of me, that's fine. I'll go win trophies elsewhere. Man United fans, they loved that. Why? Because Man United were fresh off a trophy. United had just won the FA Cup, and everyone's like, you know what? Talk your shit, Erik ten Hag. Talk your shit, because you can do that.
No, I think it's
after a loss, bro, I have no issue with managers talking shit after winning a trophy. You can talk all the shit you want because you've just won a trophy. But after a loss, you can't sit there and talk about trophies. You can't do that. Because after a loss, you need to sit there and explain why you played the manner in which you played it. You need to justify your tactics. He was asked, and what bothers me in press conferences, and I'm happy journalists are asking these questions. They're asking him about tactics and the way that he's setting up. And he's kind of like swerving the question and going on about talking about, I'm sorry, but after losing 3-0 to Liverpool, you do not want to hear that Man United are the second best team in England because we've won 2 trophies and City have won more trophies than us. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. So if it was after a win or after a trophy, I think people would be like, yeah, laughing. But after a loss, they don't want to hear that. And that's where I think Erik ten Hag is struggling to kind of grasp what, you know, like when Jose was Man United manager and he went 3 for me, 2 for them. Respect. People were laughing about that because it's Jose Mourinho. He's one of the greatest managers of that era. So people were laughing about that. But I promise you, if Ten Hag now continues to do that in press conferences, people will just get more and more frustrated. And I think it's just the translation or the way that he's trying to articulate himself. It's not coming across right.
Can I tell you, guys, there's about 400 people here. Can we get the likes to 300 people? Hit the like button. The algorithms are actually not doing great for us. So hit that like button, people. The like button is underneath your live chat. It's international break. Guys, it looks like thumbs up. Let's get to 300 likes live on the show. And if you're watching this on the replay, make sure to hit that like button. Are you scared if Erik ten Hag stays, it takes you back 2-3 years? You know, and a lot of Man United fans think I banter them when I say Man United aren't acting like a big club. A big club is not about fan base. A big club is not about the money you spend. A big club is about the respect. A big club is about when you lose at home to Bournemouth, it should not be forgotten in 2 3 days and think about the next game. This should have an earthquake at the club. And I expect the same for my club. I expect the same for every single club. You losing to your biggest rival 3-0, and us sitting here and now we're talking about the next game or we're talking about England. I think the club should be rocking at the current moment about how did we get here? How did we get to the point that Liverpool are playing rondos on our stadium? How did we get to the point, with all due respect to everyone that supports Manchester United, that Manchester United lost 3-0, and there are still some of the fan base think that this manager should be at least given until December. I think this is not an act of a big club. This is an act of a club that is losing its identity completely, by the way. Its identity as a gigantic club. You think when Real Madrid like lose at home to Barcelona 3, I'm not saying away, these results happen. Like everyone lose away. Sometimes you'll have a day off or something like this. And with all due respect to Liverpool, this is not Jurgen Klopp. This is the manager that only had 3 competitive games at Liverpool. He met these players 2 months ago. This is not Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, who has been with them for 6 years or 7 years. This is Arne Slot, who was coaching just yesterday in the Netherlands. You aren't getting a genius, right? You are getting someone who just was coaching in the Netherlands, who doesn't have a lot of experience, 7 years, but not at the top of the game. But my point, which is the question at the end for all of this, is that if Man United keep going this way, when you lose games at home against Bournemouth, Coventry, you should have lost that game with the offside thing. You remember that game?
So no, yeah.
Right? You remember the offside thing?
I remember.
And it's okay. And I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about, the people I'm talking about. Like, it is okay.
I was at the Liverpool game. I was at the Liverpool game, yeah. Everyone that was sitting in the area that I was sitting in, I think they were fed up with the manager. Because there was a time, I don't know if you lot saw it, because I don't think the camera probably turned to him, but there was a time when it was 3-0, that Slot was still on the touchline, yeah, telling Liverpool players what to do, and Ten Hag just went and was frustrated and sat down for about a good 10 minutes. I agree with you. I agree with you with the Slot part, but not even just the Slot part. Even take into consideration Brighton. A lot. I shout out Marcel. Yeah, Marcel's my guy. He's a good guy. But me and him were having this debate about the Brighton game, about the fact that he said Man United could have won. If Xerxes didn't touch the ball, etc., etc. But I said that we should never go into games with the game being that small and that fine in margins, especially against teams. No disrespect, but even with the mid-table, the top 10, United don't see the game out comfortably. They don't see the game out comfortably. And take it back to last season, right? After the Champions League, what was that? December? Ineos didn't officially come in until I think they had their ratification in February. But we knew that they were coming in. Off the back of that Champions League run, they should have sacked him. Whether or not top 4 was out of sight, they should have sacked him.
In the tunnel, Mina.
Because in December,
in the tunnel,
Bournemouth, West Ham, embarrassed in the Champions League. Manchester United, that was their worst Champions League finish since like 2005, and even in 2005 they had more points. It's just that they finished bottom of the table, but they still had more points than Erik ten Hag. I think they should have sacked him there, but I think what they did was give him the benefit of time. Now we're in September. Between now and the next international break, if United don't go on a ridiculous run, and I'm talking about winning every single game, like people might think I'm crazy, but if United don't win every single game, Erik ten Hag is hanging himself. They've given him a rope and he is going to hang himself and get himself sacked. Because we play Southampton, newly promoted. We play Barnsley, Carabao Cup. Man United should be able to field an 11 of heavily rotated people against Barnsley and easily walk away with the win. They should be able to do that. Will they do that? That's a question. And the fact that that question is there shows that there is a big issue within that management kind of structure. I've had this debate with like friends and that who are like Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans. Who's the first? Every time I ask people who's going to be the first manager to get sacked in the Prem, everyone says Ten Hag. Everybody says Ten Hag. Even United fans that I speak to, some say Ten Hag. There's some that are fully believing in him. But one thing I will say, my stance, because I saw someone say in the chat, what is Minna's stance on Eric Ten Hag? I don't think if you can turn it,
Ashraf here is
big up
asking.
to
Ashraf here
Ashraf.
is asking. May I have asked, missed it? But what is Mina's views on Eric Ten Hag? Thank you, Ashraf Habibi, for supporting the channel.
One thing I will say is that I will never sit here and say this person needs to be sacked. They need to lose their job. But what I will say, my stance on Eric Ten Hag, is that I am not convinced that he is going to get results. And for that reason, I don't think he should be the manager. I'm not going to sit here and be like, sack him. I'm telling you straight up. He is not convincing me. I can only speak for myself. He's not convincing me in the style of football that he wants to play or the style of football he's trying to implement. His stubbornness is not something that is convincing me at all, because 3-1-6, I could have told you 18 months ago it wasn't going to work in the Premier League, but he continued with it. And then now people are blaming Kobie Mainoo and saying Kobie Mainoo should leave Manchester United for the sake of his future. So he's not convincing me with that. And in the press conferences, he's lost me. He's completely lost me. So I don't think Ten Hag is convincing me in any of these stuff, and I don't think he's going to turn it around. So for that reason,
so they should sack him.
I don't think I'm never going to sit here and say he should be sacked. The same way I'm not going to sit on your channel and say you should sack HUSAM from your channel because I don't agree with his opinions. I'm never going to say someone should be sacked. But I'm telling you, I don't
understand why.
Because I will never advocate for someone to lose their job. I'm just giving you my opinion on him.
That. Oh, okay.
I wouldn't want anyone to lose their job. I wouldn't want someone to come to my workplace and say, United view, you should sack Minna. That's not nice. But if someone says I don't like Minna's opinion and for that reason she's never going to convince me of her opinion, I'm never going to agree with her, that's fine. That's okay. And that's my stance on Eric Ten Hag. I'm not convinced of his football style. I'm not convinced with his press conferences, and I don't think he's going to turn it around. So I don't think he's going to be successful this season. That's it. But
20 Hardway here saying Ajax fans complained about Ten Hag's communication skills as well. So it's not a language barrier. The guy just can't speak in general. Do you know what, 20, thank you so much for the subject. Do you know why I am convinced that is the reality? So me and Mina for a year now has been going back and forth about this. She thinks it's a language barrier. I don't think so. Because some of the stuff he says just prove that the others are also, he meant them. It's not a language barrier. When you sit and say eras come to an end, when you sit and say, we're the second best team because we won the most trophies, I know that you meant it. I know that you meant what you're saying. So I will take the others as well. Like you meant what you're saying about its tactics. You meant what you say about this person is not good enough. He meant all these things, Mina, and I'm not convinced that it's a language barrier. But for me, I'm not gonna say like Eric Ten Hag is just someone that shouldn't be a football manager, because I have seen his work at Ajax. But simply, if Manchester United continue with Ten Hag with more losses like this, Man United, for me, are moving from a big club to just a mediocre club that accept this. The fans might not, but Man United now, these guys need to sack. In my opinion, this guy need to be sacked today, by the way. Today.
Do you think in what he did in Ajax, you have to take into consider, like, do you think he was so successful at Ajax because of the financial domination that Ajax had over the other teams? The fact that the Dutch league was predominantly Ajax, PSV, and maybe Feyenoord, up in that conversation.
Yes.
Do you think it was because it was such a heavily dominant one-team league?
I only watch Ajax in the Champions League. They looked phenomenal and fantastic in terms of moving the ball and the style of play and all this stuff, right? But at the end, right, you come to Manchester United, the Premier League, you failed miserably. You had a good first year, but then you failed. You regressed massively. So I don't care if you were amazing at Ajax, right? You just failed. And they give you every tool you want. You wanted this player, they gave you this player. You have a generational talent in Mainoo. Oh, he plays. You have Bruno Fernandes. You have Lisandro. You asked for Andre Onana. They paid the money for Andre Onana.
Worst keeper I've ever seen.
He was amazing at Inter. It's your club who ruins people. It's not him personally.
He's so bad, bro. Take him back.
He's so bad for you.
Inter can have
take him back on loan and you pay his wages.
Inter can take him back. He's so bad.
I will take him back. Yeah, we reached the Champions League final with him. He was phenomenal. It was amazing. For some reason, Eric Ten Hag just ruins people. And he's going to ruin a lot of other people as well. He will. He will. I promise you, he will. It will happen. If they
Do you think
keep,
Sancho
he should be
leaving was?
sacked today.
Do you think Sancho was the right thing for him?
I actually, it's a good segue to Sancho. It's a good segue to Sancho. I have my opinion on Sancho, and I think Sancho, let's put the facts, right? And guys, it's over 400 people here. Let's get the likes to 200 at least. 50% percentage is not bad. So hit that like button, people. Here is my take on Sancho, that player that some people don't like. Magnificent talent that we saw at Dortmund. Okay. Came to the Premier League, didn't play good under Oli, was all right. Ralph Rani came in, yes, had some of the flicks and trick, but wasn't living up. At Manchester United, under every manager, he never lived up to the even 50% of how he was at Dortmund. Do we agree or we disagree? Even under Ralph Rani, he was okay.
I think his first
he was
season was
better.
okay. Yeah, his first
Was
season
okay,
was okay.
but not even. Okay, let me just give you. I am holding Sancho to the level he was playing at Dortmund, which is you're
fair.
a good talent, right? Because you showed me the talent. I think, in my opinion, the Premier League is too fast for him. It's too physical for him. Maybe it's Ten Hag, but I saw you under Oli and you weren't amazing at all. I can't remember an outstanding performance from you. So him going to Chelsea, and by the way, he never worked with Maresca before, apparently. He never did. The PR it turned out to be a lie, right? Just timeline doesn't add up. So they lied. So for me, him going to Chelsea, if I was Sancho, I know it's all about him staying in London with some of the people that worked with before and the players and his England teammates and all the stuff. I would have gone to Italy. I would have gone to Germany. I would have even gone to Spain and revived my career. He's 24 years old. He's not old. Give it 2-3 years, come back to England when you're 27, on your prime, prove your worth outside and come back. Because I believe if Jadon Sancho, if it doesn't work for him at Chelsea, even in one season, I think his career in England is done. And I think his career might be over in terms of like top clubs. If he doesn't work for Chelsea, who's buying him from Chelsea? They might sell him, but no one is coming for the guy from Bayern Munich or Juventus or Real Madrid or Barcelona. I know that Chelsea wanted him because of he's a baller. By the way, I hate this term. He's a baller thing, because at the end, it is not about being a baller. It's about you delivering on the pitch. I said that many times. I don't care if you run backwards, as long as you give me the goals and assists. You know what I mean? As long as you perform. It doesn't, you being good looking on the pitch in terms of like aesthetically doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't. As long as you deliver. And at the end, that's the take. You know what I mean? You can be the most awkward player on the pitch on the ball. Sancho looks good, doesn't deliver. So for me, this Chelsea move, it's a risky move. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna work, but most likely, I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work.
I want it to work. You know, I want him to work at Chelsea because I want him to do well. Right? It didn't work out at United.
Why do you want him to do well? Why do you want him to do well?
I like him I think he's a talent. I think he's a good talent. But he needs to implement it. Like being a talent is not enough. It's not.
Do you want Trent to do well?
Huh?
Do you want Trent Alexander-Arnold to do well?
You have to understand. I'm a United fan, but I'm also a football fan. So there's certain players that I like that might not play for Manchester United. Also Trent never played for United in his life. So the argument is different. It's like, for example, Di Maria, right? The way Di Maria's situation at United went and the way that Sancho's situation went at United, I think is a bit different. I wanted Di Maria to do well when he left United. I want Sancho to do well when he left United. I want Paul Pogba to do well. I want Angel Gomez to do well. I want everyone who played for Manchester United at some point to do well in their career. But
even if someone hasn't delivered for your club,
I was just about to say, it's crazy that for once, maybe in my life, me and you agree on something, because I have had the same opinion as you that he shouldn't have gone to Chelsea, that he should have gone elsewhere. I've been on streams with other people like United content creators who have got onto me for saying that he shouldn't go to Chelsea, because that's how I felt like he should. I felt like it didn't make sense for him to go to Chelsea because of the number of players that they have, in his position and the style in which Maresca likes wingers. Because I look at the wingers that he's brought and the wingers that he has and the wingers that he's kind of exiled, and I look at Sancho and I think you don't really fit that kind of profile of what the manager might want. That's one thing. The second thing I never wanted is for United to sell to a rival, because at the end of the day, yeah, we buy from rivals. We brought Mason Mount. We brought Robin van Persie in the past. Robin van Persie was the rival signing that worked out. After that, no other rival signing has ever worked out. Sanchez never worked out. Mount never worked out. And I didn't want United to sell to Chelsea. I would have liked for him to go to Juve. I thought Italy made sense for him. But then you look at the kind of manager that Thiago Motta is, right? And obviously you will know because you watched the Italian league that he's coached in. Just him coming out and saying straight up, Chiesa, go find yourself a new club. But imagine he did that to Sancho. What would Sancho do? Sancho would have a meltdown. He would come online and absolutely blast his manager. And that's why I think he didn't want to join Juve. I feel like the physical demand from what maybe Thiago Motta might have asked for, it might have been a bit bigger. Go on, what are you going to say?
I was going to say something because people don't like me when I say this, right? And I've had the argument. I had the argument with Ranks on Said's channel, right? And one of the things, it's actually related to what you just said. So just to reiterate what you said, imagine if Thiago Motta doesn't choose Sancho. He just doesn't like him. And he said, go find yourself another club. Logically speaking, Sancho is going to Chelsea. Number one, he has to prove himself at Chelsea. He is not the first choice in any position they have. He's probably a second or third choice. So based on the personality and what you think, if Sancho sits on the bench and get just some minutes for this season, do you think he's going to be patient? What do you think Sancho's personality is going to do?
For his sake, I can't say his
personality.
I don't know. But from what I've seen, what he's portrayed at his time at United,
yes, that's it. Because we look at the past and try to conclude the future. That's our job.
Yeah, but I hope that he doesn't do what he did at United, because that won't go well for his career. And this is why I said he's better out of the spotlight. You know, when he was at Dortmund, let's be honest, the only time people were really watching him is Champions League, because everybody's watching Champions League football. You can't tell me that you were watching Dortmund versus some other team in the German league at 5:30 on a Saturday. People can't tell me that. Outside of the spotlight, Jadon Sancho will do well. I would have liked him to go to a team outside of the spotlight. And that's why I say a team, for example, Juve wanted him. Dortmund, they wanted him, but, you know, money-wise, they couldn't afford it, whatever, cool. But a team away from the spotlight, because when you're in the Premier League, like it or not, right? Whether it's Man United, whether it's Chelsea, whether it's Arsenal, it's a big league that's always got a spotlight on them, right? Everybody, even like 3 p.m. kickoffs, people are still watching it, even though it's not accessible in the UK. People are still watching it. The spotlight is bright in the Premier League and in sports media in the UK.
Saying, if this guy is not starting week in, week out, okay, I don't know, but I looked at what he did at Man United when he doesn't start, when he's called out, and I'm trying. I don't know the guy personally. I never met Sancho in my life. I don't know him personally, but I'm looking at the way he talks and the way he does things, and I'm saying, if you aren't chosen for 10-20 games, same as Raheem Sterling, by the way, which is the first game that Raheem Sterling wasn't chosen, he spoke publicly right away. He didn't wait even for one game. He didn't take the matter internally. He just spoke publicly. And I believe Sancho is someone who he wants to be in the front line. You know what I mean? He wants to play. If Maresca doesn't choose him, can he be patient? Can this guy be patient? I'm not sure.
He's gonna have to be. He's got no choice. He's made his bed. He has to lay in it. Like, he has no choice but to be a better example of a player than what he was at United. And can I just say, him coming to United was the worst choice ever. The worst choice ever. And it's also, can I say, because he came to United 1 year later than when they wanted him. It took United 12 months to sign him. In that same summer when they signed Ronaldo, it changed the whole trajectory of what Oli was planning to do. And since then, if he stayed at United this season, you know, it would have been his 4th season at United. 4 seasons in. 4 seasons in.
But people forget that it's not only Ten Hag. The guy never delivered at Man United. Never even lived up to the like. I feel like sometimes, because some players do so bad, we remember the okay times and we say, oh, they were good at that time. No, they weren't. They weren't exceptional. Manchester United signed an exceptional player from Borussia Dortmund, a superstar. He was at that. I remember at that time. I think Liverpool wanted him. There's a lot
Everyone,
of clubs.
yeah, quite. Chelsea wanted him.
Man
A lot of teams
United
wanted him.
signed a superstar. At his best at Manchester United, he was average. He was just an okay player. He wasn't exceptional ever at Manchester United.
So is that
my point.
I was going to say, is that more? Is that? Do you look at that and think there's a? Because I look at Sancho and I think there's a player inside him. Inside him, there is a player because we've seen it in Dortmund to a point where he was one of the few players that were playing outside of England, getting call-ups to what's it called, the England national team. Yeah, he hasn't been back at the England national team since the Euros when he missed a penalty 2 years ago. That's how far his fall off has been. I look at Sancho and I think there's a player in him, but he's one of those, I don't want to say luxury players, but the environment has to be right. And for me, that environment is outside of England. It's outside of England. It's outside of the Premier League. It's outside of the spotlight. Now, I hope he does well at Chelsea, but also I looked at the Chelsea move and I thought it only logically makes sense to me because Man United agreed, I can't believe it, a 20 million loan payment transfer fee. Plus, it takes it to 25 million with add-ons, right? If Chelsea finish above 14th in the league, that just shows to me that Man United wanted him out. At
Above what?
Above, if they finish
14th.
above 14th, yeah, they have to buy him. That triggers his sell.
25 million pounds, I think.
For 25 million. And they're paying, I think right now, I think it's 40 or 50% of his salary. That just shows to me Manchester United wanted him out at any cost. Because that is a ridiculous fee.
I feel like Chelsea fans are so happy with this because
they know there's a player in there. That's right.
There is a player in there, but they think they are getting the Sancho of Dortmund. But I don't know, to be honest, if Sancho's gonna play or not gonna play. And I think you're spot on about the spotlight. If Sancho plays one game for Chelsea and doesn't deliver, and he gets called out in the media, you know, the pundits in England are ruthless sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he gets called out, do we think he's gonna respond?
Come on,
would Sancho respond on the pitch?
He came to United and 7 games in, they were doing 007 on Sky Sports. Where would you see that kind of stuff outside of England?
England.
I know Italy, and I know the fans are a lot more.
Would he? But the thing about it is that I feel like, again, I repeat, I don't know the player, but I remember there was a time at Manchester United where the guy was depressed. Literally, they sent him for depression.
We don't know the ins and outs of it, but he was going through a lot mentally, and Erik Ten Hag sent him away to train in the Netherlands with coaches. But I don't know if you remember that time as well when Erik Ten Hag mentioned it in a press. He was asked about Sancho, where is he? Eventually, he said he kind of explained why he was away, and apparently that is what upset Jadon Sancho because he never gave the manager permission to publicly say that he was mentally not in the right place. Which is he said he wasn't mentally in the right place. I think that's what he used the word mentally not in the right place, which everyone's going to go with that. Everyone's going to make assumptions, etc.
Footballing wise, do you think he suits Chelsea or not?
Footballing wise, I just look at Chelsea and I think Madueke, Neto, Nkunku. I've seen Nkunku playing as a left winger. Can I just say, Chelsea's depth that they have coming off the bench is ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. Imagine playing against Chelsea, whether or not the manager makes it click or not. He can look to the bench and he can bring on a game changer in anybody. He can bring in a game changer in Pedro Neto, in Nkunku. Thank God they didn't get Victor Osimhen. Thank God, because that would have been scary. Jadon Sancho, I think, in a team I think with United, maybe why he didn't suit United is because of the fact that it was kind of like counter-attacking, transitional kind of football, is what United were playing. In a team where they have possession and he doesn't have to, if he can link up with players and he doesn't have to kind of run at a man and try and beat a man, I think he'll do well. But it's a matter of whether he's going to play or not. That's the question.
But people assume that Chelsea will have possession in every game this season. But again, Crystal Palace were like toe-to-toe with them.
But don't you think it's okay? Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's okay with Chelsea to be in that position because it's the teething stages of their manager? It's the early stages. Of course, we look at them spending $1 billion, but
what do you mean?
The game against Crystal Palace, right? People are not going crazy. Chelsea fans, do you expect them to go crazy about it because, drawing to Palace? because they spent $1 billion, or do you expect them to be patient with it because it's only a couple of games into a season with a new manager?
So my point about this is that I think Enzo Maresca played a very good first half. They created tons of chances, but I thought that in the second half they were complacent a little bit. Like I thought there was a lot of individuality in the team in the second half, and I'm looking at the manager and I think you have to stamp your authority here. I expect Chelsea to make top four. To be honest, that's my prediction because of the amount of talent they have at the current moment. The problem is they lack experience on the pitch. But the amount of, as you said, if Neto doesn't play well, there's Nkunku on the pitch. You know what I mean? There's Madueke, there's Joao Felix. That it doesn't have to play a central role at the team. You know what I mean? You can bring him off the pitch, off the bench. Even Sancho now, if it works with him, you can bring him off the bench. Like Lavia, Caicedo, I like Dewsbury Hall. There's Enzo Fernandez. Like I actually believe that Chelsea have a lot of footballers, good ones, not to make top four. Can they be patient? Should they be patient? I don't think so. I don't think the club should be. I don't think the fans should be patient. Of course, I'm not telling anyone how to feel. But if it was me, if my manager was Mauricio Pochettino and I got sixth, I'm not expecting anything from the new manager other than fourth. Less than fourth, I would say the club has failed to appoint somebody. That is my opinion. Because for people look at Enzo Maresca and say, it's his first year, it's okay. Well, it's not your club's first year. Like, you're not a baby. Like, this is not your club's first year. You had a manager that you were sixth. You created, I think, the third amount of chances in the league. You conceded a lot of goals. You could have signed new defenders or anything. You didn't sign a striker. You fumbled the ball. Them and Osimhen. So I'm looking at them and like, why should they be patient? If it was my club, I'm not a patient person with football at all, by the way.
We know. We can tell.
Like I'm not. I'm not a patient person. I treat all big clubs the same. I'm expecting success. Of course, success is different. I'm not asking Chelsea to win the league. But if they miss on top four, like in the last game or something, I'd say yes, it's acceptable. But if comes game week 25 and you're like 10 points behind fourth place, I'm saying red alarm. There has to be a red alarm here. Because I believe what Oli said. Oli said something very important when he was interviewed. He said, by the way, people confuse the trophies with good football. He said, if you play good football, results will be there. Like, this is especially for big clubs because you have top players. If Chelsea tomorrow play good football, Mina, the results will be there. If they play shit football, it won't be there.
And he said progression is in the league. Like that is proof of progress.
And that's what people said.
Where you finish
all I care about is the style of football. I promise you, and I've been watching football for a long time, if you have good players like the Caicedos, the Lavias, and you have the Netos, if you play good style of football, I promise you will have results. You won't play good style of football and lose every game. That means you aren't playing a good style of football. That doesn't happen. For top clubs, like you can say Brighton, for example. Yeah, you were playing good style of football, but the quality of the players aren't there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To bring results. But for Chelsea, no excuses. If this guy plays good football, they will score a lot of goals and they will win games, so results will be there. Then for United, this notion, and I don't want to go back to United, but this notion that all I care about is the style of play. Well, if United tomorrow play good football, have a brand of football and a style of play, I promise you will see plenty of chances created. You won't concede a lot of chances. That means you're winning games. That means the results are there. You won't
this is the debate I've been having. This is the debate I've been having with people because, like, some people have said to me that they'd rather, the manner in which United lose games is the problem. So someone said to me that they'd rather, if United lost to Brighton in a game where they dominated, but they conceded a last-minute winner.
What does that mean?
They wouldn't be more mad about that.
Please? Can you define dominated?
Creating chances, better style of football, dominating possession, and they lose to a freak last-minute winner. They said that they'd be more okay with that.
Yes,
but for me, I'm like,
freak. That's different.
But for me, it's like football is a results-based business. I don't care how you get the results, because no one's gonna remember today if United lost 2-1 to Liverpool. Say hypothetically, right? They lost 2-1 to Liverpool, but we dominated them and we conceded a last-minute winner. No one's ever going to remember, oh, yeah, but we dominated. You're just going to remember that you lost the game.
No, but it can be, it's a sustainable thing or not sustainable thing. But The problem is people confuse having the ball with a style of
Dominating.
play. I'm gonna give an example. So, for example, Spurs, for example, they have a style of play, and the reason why I did this is that Spurs look very good on the eye in terms of like they pass the ball around, they create some chances, but they're wide open at the back. It shows in their defensive record last season. So that's not a style of play that I want. If you're dominating the ball, I'm not expecting you to concede a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of chances. Spurs, for example, Vicario made tons of saves last season. That's not how football is. That's not how football works. I'm not expecting my keeper to make abundance of saves every single game. That means my style of play is not efficient.
Yeah.
You dominate the ball, but you don't concede a lot of chances. So for me, I get what you're saying about a free goal here and there, but also it's not about having position. It's about creating chances, be very compact at the back, not concede a lot of chances while creating a decent amount of chances. Like United can commit 8 players forward. Oh my God, we're putting crosses in, but I'm conceding chances. That's not a good style of play. That's not a good one. That's not, because the results won't be there. But for Chelsea, what I'm seeing, to be honest, with Chelsea is that offensively, they look very good in terms of like creating chances. Enzo Maresca has a style of play that I like going forward. He needs to set up the defense better a little bit. Sometimes they're all over the place, but it is getting better. It looks like Chelsea, for me, are a team that is on the rise. That's why I said I would rather be Chelsea today. Of course, there is the other part with Clear Lake fighting with Todd Bowley that yesterday Bloomberg came up with. If people didn't read that, go and read it. Right? One of them actually wants to leave. Actually, they don't want to work with each other. So that is completely different. But on the pitch, Chelsea look all right. They don't look bad. They look all right. If I'm a Chelsea fan, I'll be hopeful about what is coming in the future. And I've been consistent with this since I watched them in the beginning of the season and in preseason. It will get there with Chelsea. It will get there. The problem is the ownership. But I like the way they set up the team offensively. It looks all right to me. There are patterns of play. There are like I can see the same play happen in a Chelsea game like 3, 4, 5 times in a row. Same exact play happen. I don't see that many in Manchester United. So that is for me. I like what I'm seeing at Chelsea. To be honest, for Sancho, it's a completely different story for Sancho. Completely different story. I don't know how it's gonna work. But I want to move on to a different thing. And people, let's get the lights up a little bit. To the title race and Sterling and Arsenal, and why did Arsenal sign Sterling, and why do we think it's gonna work? Why do we think it's not gonna work? And there is something that lately, even it's only 3 games, have been circling around. Liverpool, even after 3 games, will finish ahead of Arsenal. Do you think that is? Do you think people are going over the top?
Yeah, I think it's just reaction. I think 3 games is a small kind of number of games to judge the entire league on. But coming into the league, coming into the season, I said I think this is the year that this has to be the year. I think Arsenal win it. It has to be the year because it can't be finishing second again to Manchester City. But we've seen what Manchester City are on. I think Sterling to Arsenal, it makes sense. Low risk. It could potentially have high reward. It gives them an alternative in depth to the left-hand side. Obviously, I know they've got Martinelli, they've got Trossard that plays sometimes there. You know, Sterling can create chances. If they can get the Sterling that was at City not in his last season, but maybe the season before that, I think they got a good player.
What do you think more likely to happen? They get the Sterling that we have seen in the last 3 years, or they get the Sterling that we have seen the 3
I think
years
I think they could get the Sterling at City. And the reason why I say that, I think being happy in the environment that you're playing is a big thing. I think it was very evident that he wanted to stay in London. If you lot don't know, like he's from Northwest London. He's born and raised in London. So being close to family is important, number 1. Number 2, he's worked with Arteta, if I'm not wrong. He's worked with Arteta. So he has familiarity with the manager. And I think that's a big part. And I think that maybe potentially the weight on his shoulders might not be as big as Chelsea. When he was at Chelsea, I think he was the first big name. Was he the first big name that they brought in this new takeover? That was the first name. He was expected to be that big name, won how many Premier Leagues, coming from Manchester City. He's going to be that guy. The lights were too bright on him. I think similar to Manchester City, if he can be a role player where he comes in and he has a role to play, I think he will be able to flourish and make a difference for Arsenal. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to get identically the guy that he played, the type of player he was at City, because that City team won how many Premier Leagues in a row, right? But if they can get anything near that in terms of the caliber of his player, and bear in mind, he's a lot older now, you know, his pace might not be as fast as he was, but he brings you a different style of what they have on the left-hand side. He can dribble at players. He can win you a penalty or two. It's his finishing that is obviously the biggest question mark, which is, for me, Arsenal needs someone that can score goals. Because we've been saying for, you know, I thought that Arsenal would sign a striker this summer. And when obviously Ivan Toney went to Saudi, I was shocked, but that also shows where they're heading. Kai Havertz is a player that I think people doubted a lot, but he's showing his worth at Arsenal and in this system that they're playing. I think they're playing with this like false nine system. I think Sterling will be helpful. I think he'll be a helpful asset. And can I say low risk, low reward? They're paying less than 50% of his wages. I think they're paying 30%, and they didn't pay a loan fee. And that's, you know, like Sancho, how I said Man United were just desperate to get him out. This shows you that Arsenal are desperate, Chelsea are desperate to get Raheem Sterling out. They'll do it by any means necessary, even though they have to take an L financially. Go on, why are you making that face? You're going to say that you don't think Sterling's going to be good?
No, I don't analyze transfers and isolations ever. As you said, Arsenal have to win the league this season. And you think yourself that Arsenal should have signed a striker, someone that will
Yeah,
get
but
them
that's
going.
I'm not an Arsenal fan. I would love to know what Arsenal fans think, because I've spoken to Arsenal fans who have said that.
No, some
they were
Arsenal fans are
happy. It's
deluded.
mixed.
They would. A lot of football fans these days are just deluded. They will praise anything that their clubs do. You know what I mean? But I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans, on the other hand, are not happy with Sterling. They say, yes, you signed the guy. There is no risk in that. Like, logically speaking, just to put the right words here, there's no risk. You pay 100K for the guy a week.
It's low risk, low
There is
reward.
nothing this, right? But is this the signing you wanted? Did you wait all summer for a forward player when you were chasing Nico Williams, Gyökeres, Cisco? There was Osimhen, and you didn't like this Ivan Toney, to end up with Raheem Sterling? A very, very risky in terms of how it works. Forget the money though, because are you going to get Sterling of Chelsea? Most likely. Does he work hard? No, he doesn't, right? Your club and your coach demands a lot of people to work hard. So logically speaking, he doesn't work as hard. And you end up with this as your option instead of having a Gyökeres or an Osimhen or an Ivan Toney or a Neto. You know what I mean? The guy that Chelsea signed. Or, you know, Sesko or someone. You end up with this. So people analyze Sterling signing as individual, and I'm analyzing your front line sold in Ketia. You got rid of Reece Nelson, and Jesus is injured, and Martinelli is out of form, but you end up with Raheem Sterling, hoping that you'll get Raheem Sterling of City in the year that you're not building and you're not rebuilding, in the year that you yourself as Arsenal fans sit and say, this should be the final product. We should be now see the fruit of all this building a team. You give me a risky move like this. That is how I'm seeing it. That is my take on that Sterling move.
As an isolated transfer, you think it's low risk, low reward. But as an overall, you don't think it's the answer. But as an overall, you don't think he's the answer to what they need up front. Like, which I agree with. Listen, crazy.
Do you think Sterling doesn't work? Do you think Arsenal fan will sit and cry over his transfer fee or his loan or his wages? But do you know, if Sterling doesn't work, what will Arsenal fans cry about?
That they didn't
think about it from that perspective. Thank you. If you think about, and if Arsenal fans think about it from that perspective, they will get my point. If Sterling tomorrow stink up the pace, the first thing games, you can put him on the bench and give him 5 minutes every game. End of the season, send him back to Chelsea. You lost nothing, right?
Yeah, maybe because the expectation for, maybe what you're saying is the expectation for what he can deliver is not high. It's not high expectations. You're not saying that he's a league winner, basically. He's not going to win the league
No,
for you.
he's
He's not
not.
going to score 30 goals in the season. He's not going to score 25
It's more
goals.
likely than not he will be off the bench, support, a
He's a
different
role player.
card off the bench.
Yeah, he's a role player.
But at the end, you needed to win the league. You need to win the league. If it was my club and my manager has been here for a while and he built this magnificent team that you see and you win a lot of games, I'm expecting the manager to win the freaking league. I'm expecting my club to win the league, even though I'm going against Pep. I'm expecting. So Sterling was not going to be the answer. You know what I mean? Like for me, Sterling wasn't the answer. If I was, by the way, I had the same issue with Liverpool for Chiesa. It's the same. My argument is always the same, by the way. Always the same.
What do you think? What you think? Obviously, Liverpool, I think, needed a midfielder, but don't you think Liverpool's? I don't want to open a can of worms, but the base players that they have, Mohamed Salah,
Phenomenal.
Trent,
Phenomenal.
Van Dijk,
Phenomenal.
Alisson, it puts Slot in a better position because of
Yeah.
the kind of core
That's why Chiesa in isolation is okay. If the guy if the guy can get a tune out of Luis Diaz, okay. That means Chiesa is just a backup player that you aren't asking a lot from him. But before the Chiesa signing, for example, HUSAM was sitting on his stream saying that Jota's in the room. Diaz, I don't like. Nunes, I don't like. You get my point? And then your club and go and sign Chiesa from Juventus. You shouldn't be happy. But anyway, that is for Chiesa, for me, as long as Luis Diaz performs well, Chiesa's signing is spot on. 10 million, leave the guy on the bench. He can play the cup. He can come off the bench to arrest anyone. That's fine, right? He's just someone that is there. But for you, Raheem Sterling was supposed to be. Can I ask, any Arsenal fan in the chat, because you guys think I'm very harsh. If I told you in the beginning of the window that your last piece to enter to this forward line is going to be Raheem Sterling, you would have slapped me in the face. By the way, you're
I really thought this summer Arsenal would sign a number 9. Like, I looked at Spurs
or a Nico Williams type of winger.
Or
you get my point?
yeah, exactly. Someone that can give you create chances, goals, assists, something on that left hand side or through the middle. I looked at a few teams in the league and I thought these lot need strikers. Man United, one of them. Spurs, one of them. Chelsea, one of them. I did think Chelsea could have done with an experienced striker, and Arsenal. And that's why I laugh when I look at, obviously, Ivan Toney going to Saudi. If you remember, before him going to Al Ahly, it was only really Manchester United that was linked to him in the Premier League. No one else was linked to him. No one else was linked to him. And I came on your stream one day. I don't know if you remember. I said Arsenal need an Ivan Toney-esque striker. And I don't know why they're not going for him. Of course, we know there's probably like other things, other reasons why people didn't sign Ivan Toney, which is totally understandable. But I agree with you. I think Sterling being that final piece to Arsenal's puzzle is not right. Their final piece is a striker. But I also think that, do you think because they missed out on Sesko renewing with Leipzig, that they are very much, like when you want one particular style of player, if you don't get that striker, you're not going to just sign a stopgap striker. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get my point.
And I think that's why
I don't care.
They didn't go for anyone else.
I don't care. As a football fan, you don't care. That is the point. I'm a very harsh person when it comes to analyzing football teams. If I'm an Arsenal fan today, I don't care. Sesko didn't sign for us and renewed. I want to move on to the next guy. Because my barometer at the end is that it's the 5th season. I want to be stronger than last season. Can I ask a question? Does Sterling makes that front line stronger than last season?
What's the margin? Do we say 100% stronger, 30% stronger, 20% stronger? Do you think he's an upgrade on Martinelli?
No.
You don't think so? You don't think so?
No, absolutely not. And I'm basing my opinion based on the Raheem Sterling I've watched for City last season and for Chelsea. I am not basing my opinion. And people say, Mo, but you were wrong about Havertz. It's an outlier. You guys need to understand something. In logic, in the world, in math, in physics, in anything, you always look at the closer result and try to conclude. You don't go to 3 years ago. I know that people say, but he worked with Arteta before, he did this, he did that. My point is Sterling is older, works way less than before. At Chelsea, he was a diva, which is very obvious. The first day, and I
How is he
repeat
a
that,
diva?
the guy wasn't called out in the first day for the team. He spoke publicly.
Can I also say that he did not speak publicly? FYI, it's not like what Jadon Sancho did, where he came online and posted a
No, he
statement.
did.
Daily
He
Mail,
did.
Daily Mail asked his team for a comment, and they answered it. And then what did Daily Mail do? Being the Daily Mail that they are, trashy paper, they put it out just before the game. They said, "Here's the statement. Here's the statement from Raheem Sterling's camp."
Okay, so he spoke.
But it's an
demanded an answer
to a question. They were approached for an answer. You're acting like he put out a statement, like Jadon Sancho did. Jadon Sancho put out a statement about Eric Ten Hag, right? That is putting out a statement. But answering a question, your camp answering a question from a newspaper outlet, who then sit on it for a day or two and wait before the game,
So
and then put it out.
It was misquoted. Is that what you're saying?
But they came out and said it. Daily Mail, the paper, by the way, the journalist in particular who wrote that article came out and said this question was asked before the game, and we asked them. We asked them. They didn't come out.
I don't get this.
It's not like I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example.
Yes,
Have you seen
give me
Victor
an example.
You know Victor
No, I don't want you to give me an example.
No, I'm going to give you an
example.
example.
Tell me what happened. Tell me what happened again.
I'm telling you. Okay. Let me repeat it. He was basically being exiled out from the team, right? Yeah. We're aware of what Maresca has been saying about him.
No. He wasn't chosen in that team squad that day.
Okay. Before the day before that, the Daily Mail journalist said that he approached his camp, Raheem Sterling's camp, for a comment about him being left out of Maresca's plans, and they gave an answer, right?
What is the answer?
But that's not.
What is the answer?
But that's not putting out a statement. In my opinion, that's not putting out a statement. Putting out a statement is you coming online in response to something immediately on your socials. That is putting out a statement. But if you are asked in the world of media, if you are approached for a comment, it's either you give an answer or you refuse to answer. It's one or the other, right? And in the piece, they will either embed your quotes or they will say X person's camp refused to comment on this.
No,
are you saying that it was better? Are you saying that his camp shouldn't have answered their papers? The papers thing.
I'm gonna tell you. If I'm not on Straight Facts with Terry on Wednesday, one day, and you approach me and ask me, Mo, why aren't you on Straight Facts? And I tell you, I demand Terry to answer this. I need clarifications over my future. What does that mean? It's a statement.
Is that you putting out a statement or you answering a question?
It is a statement. Answering the question, saying that we demand answers from Chelsea about our future. It is it's a
I don't know. Maybe that's where we can disagree on that. No, maybe we can disagree on that because I don't think that's quotation marks putting out a statement. For me, putting out a statement is not going through a third party. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not you're going straight directly to the audience rather than going through a third party into to Daily Mail. And can I say Daily Mail putting that out just before the game? They literally wanted everyone to pick it up. Okay, and if you're if you're saying that makes Raheem Sterling a diva, brother, I don't think you know what diva means. I think
maybe I don't.
Just based on that, you're saying he's a diva.
It's one game, and Raheem Sterling is asking for explanations from the Chelsea and Enzo Maresca. Maybe. Anyway, I think we will see. We will see what happens.
I don't think he's ever going back to Chelsea. I think he's gone. I think he's gonna be gone. How many goals do you think he can get for Arsenal? Because I think if he gets 10, 15 goals, I'm
gonna say this. It is not about the goals you score. It's about the moments you score the goals. It's about the games that I need you to score the goals. That is the difference between a player, right, that will give me the moments that I need, that will win me the games, and a player that won't. That is my problem, Mina. You can be the striker that give me 20 goals a season, but when I need you, you aren't there. But at the end of the season, the numbers will show that you gave me 20 goals. I'm going to give an example from a player at my club, Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro Martinez come up with some moments, right? And seasons, he scored 20 goals, he gets 25 GAs. But when the game needs my striker, my captain, to win a 1-0 sometimes, he disappears. He's a stinker. That is what I need the player for. That game. Because I know that the other players will step up in the easier game when I play this team or that team. That is my problem about Raheem Sterling. He might give you some good games. He might give you 10 goals, right? But I don't think when push comes to shove and you need Raheem Sterling, he will show up.
Is it because of it? You're basing it off of Chelsea, innit? You're basing this
Yes,
off of
yes, I am basing it off. I'm not talking about Manchester City, and also even at Manchester City, right? You ask a lot of Manchester City fans, they will tell you there are a lot of games when we needed Raheem Sterling, and he literally missed sitters. He didn't do what is required from him. That is why Pep Guardiola dropped him at the end. I believe at Chelsea lost more points with him than lost more with him from him than the game from him. That is my point. A lot of people, for example, that is why for me, Lautaro Martinez, you have good games and you score some amazing goals for the club. But I want you when I need you. I don't want you when everyone else can step up. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
I don't want you when like, do you get my point? Like, I'm going to give you an example. Marcus Rashford in the season with Eric Ten Hag, 2 seasons ago, when he finished third. That is a moment's player. That is someone who won you games on his own. On his own. It's good when you score goals when everyone else scores. Yes. But these 3 points that I need, and that's why people criticize Gabriel Jesus, because, well, you could have won them the league when the chance came to you in these particular games. That is the clutch. I don't think Raheem Sterling is a clutch player. I think he is, system. If the system works and everyone is playing good around him, we'll perform, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Arsenal should have had an exceptional player signed this season. Someone who, even if the team is not performing, it cannot be always Saka. It cannot be always, the team is not performing well. Saka rises, you win the game. It needs to be someone else.
I hear it.
It needs to be someone else. And that's not Sterling. And I'm basing this based on Chelsea. That is the point. People want me to always analyze players 3 years back. I never do this. And that is my about Sterling. It's, for me, Arsenal fans, you're doing copium, bro. If it works, hats off. Fine. I was wrong, you were right. I'm sit here and admit that. Kai Havertz improved massively from his days at Chelsea. But again, would I have risked 65 million in that window on Kai Havertz? No, I wouldn't. If time goes back, I wouldn't. Because I'm analyzing the Sterling today. I'm not analyzing Sterling when it works. Okay? You see the difference here? I don't analyze Sterling when it works. I don't come back when it works. I say, see, today, did you need Sterling in this window? No, you didn't. Did you want Sterling? No, you didn't. You wanted a top player. You wanted Nico Williams. You cried for Gyökeres and Osimhen and Ivan Toney and someone from that ilk for you to go and sign Raheem Sterling. And then you want me to sit on streams and tell you, it's going to work? What? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy for me. Like, people think like this. Same, by the way, I have the same energy for Mazraoui, for example. I don't like Mazraoui.
What?
I think he's an average footballer. He's all right. At Bayern Munich, I watched him a lot of times. He's an average footballer. And I think at Man United, he's still playing average. I know has put some tackles in here and there. But I think he's not what Man United need. And the problem, and that's what I said for every Man United fan, and this is what people hated me. Mo, he's only backup. Well, 3 games in, he started 3 games, didn't he?
Because
he's not backup. Because Luke
for me,
Shaw's
he's not backup.
injured.
He's a starter for me. He's a starter.
That is the point. That is the point. That is.
I know why I know why you don't like him. It's because
Why?
he's Moroccan, isn't it?
I like Moroccans. What do you mean?
Do Moroccans and
Like
Egyptians have a rivalry?
I actually now I absolutely want every Arab player to work anywhere.
I'm joking. No,
No, we don't.
No, but
we had rivalries.
It's the North
I don't think
African rivalry.
Mazraoui is not for me. I don't care.
So it's not because of that.
Not at all.
Are you sure?
I love Riyad Mahrez. When Riyad Mahrez used to play well, I used to tell people this guy's
trolling you. I'm trolling you. I'm taking the piss. But I think Mazraoui is a good player. I think he's a good player. it's
For
similar
your
to
level,
no,
yes. For the level, for
no,
where
no,
your club is at, yes.
but
Yes.
also it's low risk, low reward. United brought him for 14 million. It was around 14 million what United spent for him. Going forward, he offers a lot more than what United had before.
Well, in the first 3 games, he only offered things going backwards, so it's fine.
Nah, he had our first.
It
How
has
about
more
this?
backwards than forward, bro.
This is
Ah,
not a
yeah,
stat.
Ten Hag is
No,
this.
no, no,
The
no,
system
no,
is
no, no.
shit.
This is not a stat, but he had our first shot on target against Liverpool.
No, this is ridiculous.
Our first shot on target.
You're being shameless now. You're being shameless. 100%. You're being shameless.
No, I'm taking the piss. But what I'm saying is that my criticism will not be that.
Can I before we move on to Mazraoui, before 20, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wouldn't hate the Sterling move if we went big this summer and he was the cherry on the top. But when you look at what we did, it feels so underwhelming. Someone that gets it. This person gets it. Like, thank you so much for the super chat. But yeah, Mo, you have an agenda against Sterling. Yes, I do have an agenda against Sterling because he didn't play well for Chelsea and he gets paid a lot of money. Yes. And you want, if, for example, and I'm just, before we move on, I just wanted to put this out there. If Arsenal got Tony, and then in the last day of the window, they got rid of Reece Nelson and put Raheem Sterling, I'll say, fine. Fine. You replaced Reece Nelson with Raheem Sterling, but you still got your forward. But Raheem Sterling is your signing of the forward line this summer is so underwhelming. So I agree with this, but people don't see it. Go back to Mazraoui. It's a lot.
No, I think, yeah, low risk, low reward, cheap player, has a heap of talent. I think he's a very talented player, especially even for Morocco. And for what Man United are looking for in terms of a going forward from fullbacks, what United are looking for going forward from fullbacks, I think he will answer that. But I'm not going to judge him based on these first 3 games. I'm going to give him time to get embedded into a team, get a fair run of games. Actually, that first game against Fulham, right? Forget about how United snatched the win, etc. Just his performance. That didn't look like someone that had been making his debut for Man United. He looked very comfortable in the team. And maybe you could turn around and say, yeah, but United are not good right now. You know, the system, blah, blah, blah. But just him in his debut looked very comfortable. I think he should have got man of the match. I think Xerxes got man of the match because he scored the winner. But he should have got man of the match because it was his debut game, no preseason at Manchester United, straight into the first game of the season, and he slotted in perfectly. He very well. Liverpool, for me, I think he struggled a little bit defensively against Luis Diaz, against Jota going out wide, etc. I feel like he did struggle.
I think it's levels, Mina.
Nah, I don't think it's. I don't. You know that Liverpool.
Wallahi, I think you know what I mean. I think it's levels. I think it's you are accepting that Mazraoui is good because where your club is at.
No, I think he's a good. I wanted Mazraoui even before we were linked to him. How about that? I thought United should have got him. When he went to Bayern Munich on a free, how many seasons ago? That's a couple of seasons ago when he went for free from Ajax. I wanted United to get him.
Yeah.
I wanted United to get him then.
So you think Mazraoui is Manchester United level?
I think he's a good fullback.
How the mighty have fallen. Yeah.
I think he's a good fullback. I think he's a good fullback. But my only worry about him is injuries.
I think we'll see. But guys, listen. Can we get to 300 likes before we end the show? We are that close to 300 likes. We're less than 30 likes away. So hit that like button underneath your live chat. I think we'll just end the year. An hour, 30 minutes is a lot, but so just flew by, to be honest. Amazing stream. But listen, guys, you saw Mina's bull knowledge. Very knowledgeable, of course. I disagree with half of her things, but fine. She knows how to talk. But listen, guys, her channel is pinned in the description. Mina Football. Tell the people what to expect. Do you have something coming up today, tomorrow?
I can't lie. International break is quiet. It's quiet. But if you want regular United content, then come over. And if you lot want this to be a regular thing on Mo's channel, make sure you lot hit the likes, and we'll do it every week, inshallah.
Inshallah, we'll do it every week, even if you don't like the video. Just hit that like button. We'll do it every week. Especially when Man United lose, 10th in the league. Oh, man, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
What am I signing myself up for? Why am I signing myself up for this?
I said that before. My dislike for Manchester United is never going to cloud my objectivity about analyzing football.
You think you are objective. Guys, this guy thinks he's objective.
I'm a
He
very
thinks he's
objective and a
objective.
neutral. I'm very objective and neutral.
You think you're neutral?
I'm very
That's
neutral.
the
What do you
funniest thing.
mean?
You are not neutral, bro. You have biases. You don't see it, but you got biases.
I don't have any biases. I'm very neutral. What are you
Oh my
talking
god.
about?
You're not. But if that's what makes you sleep at night, then I would say, okay, khalas,
That's
you're
my
neutral.
thing. Don't take
You're
that
neutral.
away from me. That is my thing. Anyway, appreciate everyone that stayed here. Stay here, guys. Don't go anywhere. This will take you to HUSAM. He has North Side and LB. So we'll see you guys on the other side. Hit the like button before you go. Appreciate everyone that supported the channel. We'll see you guys soon. We're out of here, people.